Well, hello and welcome to another week of Soap Secrets. Now, this morning we're going to be talking about Holby and Casualty, and Victoria Wilson is away, so Claire Ruck is stepping in. Hi, Claire.
Hi, Hannah.
Okay, so let's start with Holby because last week was a bit of a shock, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, Victoria teased heavily, didn't she? But
she did.
You put a lot of pressure on, and she wouldn't spill the beans. But
no,
it was really annoying. But who is the surprise face who came back last week? Well, it was none other than Dr. Cameron Dunn.
Well, Victoria would have been very happy about that because she likes Cameron. Well, she likes the character, doesn't she?
Yes. Well, of course, you know, that was a real shock because, quite frankly, he was arrested earlier this year for murder, and he's a serial killer, and so. Wow, he came back. You would have thought of all the people that could have come back, serial killing a doctor wouldn't have been one of them.
No, you wouldn't expect so, would you? But he's up to his old tricks.
Of course, he's up to his old tricks, and so he's also in as this patient X. So he's got health issues, and they're trying to do this stent trial on him, and he appears to die. He appeared to die last week, sorry. But of course this week we see that he's alive and well, and he's skulking around in the basement up to no good.
Oh.
Yes, very
These serial killers, we know this from other soaps, don't we? I mean, they don't ever seem, well, they do get their comeuppance eventually, but it takes quite a long time.
Yes, it does take quite a long time. And actually, I thought he had his comeuppance. So, you know, we all know that Holby sadly will be ending next March. But the writers seem to be throwing absolutely everything they can at it, don't they, Hannah?
They really do. I mean, in a way, I would think it sort of gives more sort of grist to the mill for everybody trying to keep it going, because as you say, they're going to let it go out on a big bang, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Massive big bang. And you know, this is the big, you know, Cameron coming back, this is the start of a good 3 weeks of exciting drama in Holby City.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not the only thing though going on, is it? Because you know, Jack's come back again. Victoria very, very happy about that, but Max finds out why.
Yes. So we the viewer know that she came back because she has a brain tumour, and she wants this stent trial that Eli's doing. This is all really, she's pushing hard for this because this is a way that perhaps she can save her own life, because she's going to put a stent into something in her brain, and this will help her brain tumour. But of course, really, it needs to be tested first of all in a heart patient. So you know, they are taking a lot of risks with this, and you know, she finally confesses all to Max, and you know, Max then takes a look at her scans, etc., and it is quite a serious situation. But we know that Jack offered, you know, Carol, Dom's lovely mum who has dementia, to be part of this trial, you know, and I don't think Jack was quite open with Carol about this, and you know, if it hasn't really been tried in a heart patient, first of all, putting it into a brain is seriously risky. I know to push forward for medicine you have to sometimes do risky things because you learn that way, but you know, this is Dom's mum, Carol, and you know, she's, you know, will she participate in the stent trial, and will Jack actually confess to her what she wanted from her, which was her to go first so that Jack's life could be saved. So she was kind of like a sacrifice, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that story's going to come end, I imagine, quicker than the Cameron one, to be honest with you. I can see Cameron still being here at the very end, the finale.
It's going to be a good week this week, because whatever he's up to in the basement, and I don't want to say too much because he's just mad. I mean, you know, it's just seems to have access to everything in the basement. There's drugs down there. I thought drugs in hospitals were locked up, but it seems he can get hold of lots of things in the basement.
Not in Holby.
Exactly, yeah. Nobody locks anything up in Holby. And you know, there's lots of things in the basement. No one seems to check it. Security seems to be a bit lax. But, you know, what is he up to, and what repercussions will his basement activities have?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all go. Victoria, she's missing a bad week to be off on holiday, that's all I'm saying. Okay, so from one hospital drama to another, let's look at Casualty. So last week you touched on the whole Ethan-Matthew situation and how difficult it was in ED, but it's really ramped up, hasn't it, the bad feeling this week?
It has. I think we'd all feel for Ethan. He has to go into a workplace where the man that was driving the car that killed his to-be wife he has to work with him. I mean, really, I think HR should be involved, and perhaps they shouldn't have been working with each other. But here we are. Ethan's having to face him, and there is bad feeling this week because I didn't want to give it away last week, but we saw that. I kept saying that Ethan wasn't coping, and his brother Cal was there as a ghost to help him out. But actually, at the end of last week's episode, we saw Ethan give little Bodhi up to Phoenicia's parents, which was heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. But he really felt he couldn't cope. And so this week, all the people in the ED have been trying to help Ethan out. They've all been babysitting and everything. And word gets around. And Matthew is absolutely incandescent. And they actually have a face-to-face confrontation. So it's not just evil eye looks. They virtually come to blows. They would have come to blows if lovely Dylan had not stepped in between the two of them. So it is really quite shocking, and this is where Matthew says to Ethan, I loved Phoenicia, I really loved her, but she loved you, and you have Bodhi, and really he wants.
The trouble is, when there's a child left behind in a situation like that, it's really hard because you're dealing with your own grief and you need to step up to the plate as a parent, but also the fact that they're a constant reminder, I think. Yes,
massively a constant reminder. It is, because, he'd been through so much with Bodhi. He's really worried about giving Bodhi Huntington's disease. Phoenicia failed to tell him all of lockdown. They had been, Zooming each other, but obviously the bump was below the desk, so he didn't know she was pregnant and stuff. So they had a lot. And, he's such a great dad. He is such a great dad.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope that over time he can get the help that, he needs, and that it will all sort of end in a happy ever after. But this is Soap World, Hannah. Remind myself. And Jan gets a nasty shock this week, doesn't she?
Yes. Now, I do have to warn you, this made me feel quite ill. Ffion, her estranged wife, was brought into the ED with an injury after chasing after a couple of lads up to no good. This is really, you want to.
I can't watch this sort of thing. I literally have to just turn it. I'm such a wimp, Claire. Honestly.
Well, I did feel a bit guilt. I did feel a bit. A bit sick at this because policemen wear big boots anyway. So she gets injured because she's chasing after this young lad, and she steps on a pile of rubbish, and a nail goes through her foot.
Oh, and you see it.
You do see it. I felt.
I feel a bit queasy just you even saying it.
And then one of the doctors, I thought, I don't know how I thought they got it out, but they just get pliers.
Of course they do. And a tetanus jab, off you go.
Yes.
No problem.
I would have thought as a police officer, she probably was up to date with her tetanus. But
oh gosh, so Ffion and Jan's relationship has been dodgy for a while, hasn't it?
It has. So Fion's a police officer. Jan was taking drugs into prison for her no good son Ross. I really, of course, and she lied to Ffion, and of course it's going to impact on your marriage because Ffion is a police officer. That's who she is. That's what's at her core. Just like Jan's core is she's a very good paramedic, but so, and Ffion was attacked. She didn't tell her why she was attacked. Trust has been broken between the two of them. But Jan is still hoping. She's still sofa surfing. She's actually on Ian's sofa at the moment, but she doesn't want to find a flat because she's hoping Ffion will take her back. So this week it is clear that there are feelings between the pair, but Fion's trust we're really not. She's not ready to rebuild it at the moment. But she's been injured. Not only did she hurt her foot, but she took a tumble. So they x-rayed her, and on the x-ray they find something alarming. So can Jan support Ffion through this alarming medical thing that she's got, and will the pair come closer to rekindling their marriage?
Dun dun dun. It's all going on. I'm afraid that's it for this week though, but we will be back next week with lots more gossip, and Victoria will be back feeling very sad that she missed this week, so I'm afraid. We'll see you next week.